Hey everyone, it's Joseph here with another video for the channel today. It's been a little bit since I did something that was unboxing gear related. And so this video today is gonna be just that, because a new member, camera, is gonna join our video production team starting from today. And that is the Canon C70. Now, if you've been following my channel or if you know a bit of my own journey through the last couple of years, I've basically run multiple camera systems always at the same time. Moving from Olympus and Panasonic to Sony and Panasonic to Sony and Blackmagic to Sony, Blackmagic and Canon. And right now in our video production company, we are running 3 different camera systems at the same time: Sony, Blackmagic, and of course, Canon. So there's a number of reasons for my approach in this matter. A lot of it is to do with just staying on top of what is actually the best bang for buck cameras at each price level. And sometimes it's a Sony camera. For us, it's become Blackmagic over the last couple of years. And then we ended up getting the R6 about 1.5 years ago now, and I've been using that as primarily a B-roll camera. But especially as I've started to shoot with more freelance operators and people who have their own kit, we're finding that a lot of our best shooters also either run Blackmagic or Canon systems as well, which has gotten me more intrigued about the system. And typically when you're running a Blackmagic camera system like we do, we have a lot of Canon EF lenses as a result. And so it was just natural to eventually find a reason to give the C70 a shot. And so I'm just gonna unbox this today and talk a little bit about what's inside and talk a bit more about the decision making behind why we are currently going to try the C70 in this next season of our production company. So inside the box, we have, this doesn't come standard with the C70, but I also picked up 2 SanDisk Extreme 128 V90 cards. So they're 128 gigabytes V90, which is necessary, which is another reason why it's taken me a while to want to jump to a Canon C70 or an FX6 type system, is just because storage gets more expensive. You know, when we've been using our Blackmagic pocket cameras like the 6K Pro that's filming me now, it runs straight into a Samsung T5 SSD, and that keeps prices down because a 1 terabyte SSD on sale is about 150, 170 Australian dollars, whereas one of these V90 cards is $309 at the time that I purchased this in the place I purchased it. And so, you know, 1/10 of the capacity for over double the price, it's a bit hard to swallow. But now that we're moving into higher level productions overall, it's just something that comes with the territory. So inside we've got some manuals. In the main box, I might even spin it around here. You open the main box here. It's all in there. So I'll just take out things one at a time and talk through what they look like they are. Mind you, I didn't do a ton of research into what actually comes with the C70, so I'm kind of learning it as I go here. Got a battery charger. Got the cable for the battery charger. What's this? Oh, it comes, there we go. It comes with a top handle, which is fantastic. So that will come in handy for us. I like shooting handheld primarily, and so that's a big reason why top handles are my favorite thing to shoot with these days. You have a camera strap underneath all of that. All right, get a bit more of the little bits out of the way. AC adapter, I'm assuming. Okay. So Siri loves to get involved in my videos. All right, looks like we do have an AC power adapter. One of the BPA 30 batteries. It's a new type of battery for me. I've never shot with anything that uses that, so time to learn what the capacity is like there. And this appears to be a mic mount, a bit of a shotgun mount there as well, that comes with the body. So that's really nice to know. And all right, the true main event. I'm gonna clear this off the table real quick. So I've said it a few times now, but the main event is the C70 body. So first impressions from me, as I've never actually used one personally, is it's got a nice little side strap there. which I guess I've never actually had a camera that's had that before. So this is really unique for me. It looks pretty straightforward to me. All of the different buttons on the side there. The beautiful thing about shooting on a cinema camera body is that it's designed to allow you to access everything really quickly and intuitively. And so that's something that I'm excited about to learn the new Canon camera layout as well. So we've got ND filter buttons there for the internal NDs, a bunch of inputs. There we go, mic, USB, HDMI, and then all the buttons there on the side look like they're just for functionality of zebras, peaking, etc., etc. And yeah, big red button there for recording. And yeah, battery at the back. Like, this video is not going to get very technical or very detailed at all. But I'm just looking at my own first impressions. So it looks like the screen that flips out here has, full rotation. The hinges on screens are never going to be the most durable things ever. It's got a bit of play, but hopefully if you treat it right, it won't snap. And inside it looks like we have a lot of leveling options and monitoring options for your what appears to be the microphones. So yeah, first impressions, again, having never used one of these cameras personally, it looks like it's very nicely sized. And this is a bit of a here's one I prepared earlier moment, but I have here our Canon R6 as well, which has been, like I mentioned earlier in the video, one of our B-roll cameras, because as you all know, if you're in the camera sphere, you know that you don't get an R6 to shoot interviews, talking heads, anything that has a long record time, but you can with this. And so even looking at the just general size difference between the bodies, this is, very small mirrorless body, and I've never even bought a cage for it because, well, firstly, I don't normally shoot this at all, and it normally lives on a gimbal. And yeah, I've never really had a need to, because, another one of my, here's one I prepared earlier moments. Either I'll be shooting on the Blackmagic Pocket 6K or 4K, which is again what's filming me now, or the Sony a7S III, which I have got some rigging for there. So even if I just put that together there, we've got the R6 here, got the C70, got a rigged out a7S III, and the C70 is just slightly bigger there and comes with a side handle and all of the knobs and buttons that make it a cinema camera. So I know I've been waffling on a little bit here because this is more of a first impressions video, but what am I excited about with the C70? Why did we pick up a C70 at this point in time? Well, there's a few reasons for this. Number one, like I mentioned earlier, we've been shooting primarily on the Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro and 4K cameras as our main production cameras when we're doing most of our projects. We love the fact that we've got so much dynamic range, and the Blackmagic Gen 5 film profiles are insanely good. BRoll, even ProRes, which I'm shooting now, has so much flexibility. And of course, the Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro itself is one of those really solid bang for buck cameras. You just really can't beat it for the price of what it delivers. Just straight up, I got the 6K Pro a year ago. It's been my favorite camera ever, other than the a7S III here. And it's half the price of the body that the C70 is. So straight away, you've got the price barrier for something that has a very similar level of performance. Now, there are obviously limitations when it comes to the Blackmagic camera system. If you're familiar with it, you'll know that there is no kind of stabilization inside the camera, no IBIS or even digital stabilization. So your lenses have to be stable, or you have to do what we do, which is either lock it off on a tripod or use a very solid, bulky handheld rig to take the weight and just learn how to shoot handheld, which is what I do majority of the time. Also, there's no autofocus, which means that if you're used to pulling focus, that's amazing, but there is obviously a time and a place for autofocus, and that's when I would either turn to one of our mirrorless systems, typically either the a7S III or the a7 III or the R6 in terms of B-roll. Now, we've done some productions recently where our main cameras have been 3 or 4 Blackmagic cinema cameras, but then we need to shoot B-roll and we turn to the R6 because it's, for time's sake, putting it on a gimbal has been the fastest and most efficient thing to do on those shoots. But as good as the R6's 10-bit C-Log 3 profile has been, it still has limitations when we're putting it up against the Blackmagic cameras. It's not the worst thing to match, but we want something now for our high-level productions where we have the dynamic range and autofocus. And so the C70 provides those things. In my mind, it's like paying double the price of a Blackmagic to have autofocus and stabilization, but you gotta do what you gotta do. And at the end of the day, even though I do personally love the Sony system, myself and my team have a lot more Canon EF lenses than we do Sony E-mount. So naturally, to have a C70 just works really well for the glass that we already shoot with. Not to mention that a lot of the freelancers that I work with actually all use either Blackmagic or Canon. So that's been one of the primary decision makers. I'm personally really looking forward to seeing what this camera can deliver and how it can level up our projects even further. Again, this is designed in our current production workflow to essentially replace what the R6 is doing in terms of a camera use case. But I am genuinely excited to learn another system. I've been a proponent of having multiple camera systems at one time so that I know what the pros and cons are, and so I have options and flexibility depending on what we need to do and when. And so it's been nice being able to think, hey, should we shoot with the Blackmagics today? No, it's a really quick run and gun shoot. We can either take an R6 or an A7S III and roll with that. And now we've got more options now that we've got a C70. And horses for courses, and there has to be a reason that you actually get cameras. The reason that we're doing this move at the moment is a bit of experimentation and learning, which I love to do, just to see how it fits in the workflow and if it does take our productions to the next level, which I'm very excited for. But the C-Log 2 camera profile is definitely something that I think is really amazing to have. And you know, when we can use this alongside our BRoll or ProRes coming out of the Blackmagic, having both those cameras shooting similar levels of dynamic range will be absolutely amazing. And we're excited because that means that we can push towards getting even higher level projects now with our current gear list. Our production capacity will increase. I can send some of the guys in our team out on shoots and know that they're gonna have a higher level of quality than just taking out the R6. And now we have all options available depending on who we're shooting for, what we're shooting, etc, etc. I'm gonna actually take this camera onto a test shoot tomorrow, and then I'm gonna use it in a real client shoot the following day. Today's Saturday. The shoot that I'm aiming for is Monday. So tomorrow I'm gonna go shoot some content around our church just to have a bit of a play and see what this thing can do. This video wasn't exactly scripted or planned, so I didn't know where I was gonna take it. But if you are going to look at getting a camera system for yourself, if it's just a hobby, then, you know, do whatever you want. If it's something that you're looking at for a genuine work-related use, if you run a production company or a freelancer, just think of the use cases that you're actually going to take your camera on, and that should help you to decide on what system you use. The truth is that since I started my own production company, I've been so used to running multiple camera systems and actually learning how to match them in post in the color grade. So the type of camera system doesn't really bother me, to be perfectly honest, as long as it can shoot a pretty flat log profile or a raw profile that we can adjust and match in post. I honestly don't know all of the features that the C70 has, and that's another reason I'm really excited to just start using it to learn. But I know that some of my favorite creators and even people that we work with now use this camera, and so I'm excited to see what it can bring to our workflow in my production company. If you enjoy this video, I encourage you to give me a like and subscribe, and comment below if you've got any suggestions or questions about the choices of cameras that we use in our production company. Again, this isn't an extensive list. Some of them are at the office and some of them are being used for filming right now. If you have any questions about what a good use case is for any one of these particular cameras, or again, if you have suggestions on how to use the C70 well, very excited to hear from you. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thanks for watching and have a great day wherever you are in the world.